Welcome to the podcast, The Coaches Next Door. And I try in this podcast to interview different people doing different things, using coaching in different ways, using different techniques as well. And I think this episode is going to really make you see a different side of yourself. I'm going to be speaking with Arthur Pop, someone that embraced himself for himself first. The discovery of his own way of doing intimacy and his own way of being and doing relationships. And after he explored for himself, he decided that it was time to start teaching others. Because let's be honest, we still have a lot of ghosts on this topic. I want you to stay with us because you are going to discover someone that is working intimacy in an ethical, profound, and with a high level, a super high level of integrity. Let's listen and stay with Arthur Pop today. Hello, good morning, Arthur.
Good morning, Lydia.
We are like starting like this. You're like, good morning, and no other things going on.
No, and it is a good morning, so I'm happy to say that to you.
Yes, exactly. And today we are recording this on a Friday. So what is a nice metaphor? Because I think you know, but I will tell her anyway, that Friday is the day of Venus. So it's the day of, this feminine and this glamorous, oh my God, this word is difficult, energy. So it's the day that we can explore a little bit this side of us. So it's a great metaphor, don't you think?
It is. I'm coming to think of it. Maybe I will put some nail polish on later on today.
Exactly.
Just to celebrate Venus. I would love that.
Exactly. And so we are here in this conversation. We are friends to start. I think it's good to say that.
Yeah.
And I'm how can I say? I'm very happy because we know each other for a while, and I'm happy that you are doing, or let's say, I'm happy that I can see you doing this, movement that we are going to talk about today. I don't want to give a lot already, but I'm really happy to see this. It's also almost like a blooming thing, I think was always there, but was not always as it is today. So what happened? What is this? What is the blooming that I'm talking about?
Yeah, when you phrase it like that, I'm also remembering like what other blooming moments did I have before where you take a step into your own shoes, where you really are showing up for your mission, for what you stand for who you really are. And that's basically what I'm doing right now and what you're referring to. For more than 10 years now, I was already working a little bit with these new topics that I'm working with in a different frame than I did before. But a long travel in Mexico made me realize now I really need to put this into the world. It really is something I find so beautiful and so important to bring to everybody, or as many people I can do, that I really have to show up for that I really have to stand for that. And that's both awesome and at times scary and energetic and loving. So,
But what exactly do you stand for? That is the question right now.
That is the real question.
What do you stand for, and what is that you want to not only show to the world, but also be there
Mm,
to make that really vivid to people and the world, of course.
mm. Yeah, my mission is to let people be really truly authentic to themselves, really stepping into who they really are, and with that, really connect to themselves, to their loved ones, and to their loved ones the way that they want to relate to. And
Mm.
also, because I find it a very important topic, to their own sexuality. So
Mm.
um, it really is all about authenticity and about being true to yourself. But when you talk about that, and often the two topics that raises the most rigid thoughts and presuppositions, it's relationships and it's sexuality.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah.
how that I yeah I of course totally agree with that. I think yeah, I think that congruency, this some people call it alignment,
Mm,
the real possibility of us. I use I say something that I say the worst thing that we can have is to be scared of ourselves,
mm,
right? So for me, it's really a thing to be out in the world without being afraid of
mm,
ourselves. And what do you think? What do you do? What do you want?
mm,
And we see this a lot, right? People being afraid of who I am, and maybe I don't like every part of who I am. I hear this a lot. Um, but also this idea that some things need to stay in the shadow,
mm.
because yeah, like you said yourself, like it's a little bit scary to come out with these topics, for instance, to the world,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
right?
And I even remember vividly what it felt like not really daring to show up or not be really be understood with that. Like I think about 7 or 8 years ago, I had that situation. I was always playing field hockey for more than 30 years, over a long time. So I had a team which I grew up with, literally from 10 years old to more or less 40 years old. And at the end, when I was about 40, I could feel them just not really understanding me anymore.
Mm,
And I felt like, hey, I have to, yeah, for them to understand me, I have to behave like them. And I
yeah,
don't want that. I
yeah,
appreciate them, but there was really a disconnect between us because yeah, I have a different life than most of my teammates do
yeah,
because I don't have kids. I rent this beautiful place.
yeah,
I have a different kind of career. So while they are still my teammates and I'm going to see them in about a month, so we're really looking forward to, I felt okay for me to really be true to myself. Probably our paths should at least have a different direction, and we
yeah,
can still be in relationship with each other, but not like this anymore.
yeah,
And that happens, yeah, that happens to a lot of people where you have to find out, hey, how can I be really true to myself and accept the consequences of how, that's maybe going to look different than before.
yeah, yeah. I think that uh, let's say this being truly honest, first of all, with ourselves, like I'm feeling seen, heard. I'm
Mhm.
seeing I'm being respected for the
Mm.
things that I believe in, or the things yeah, that I stand for, right?
Yeah,
If and sometimes that is um, that is not what you get from people that, for instance, know you for a long time, and they have a different style of life or
yeah.
different beliefs even. Um, so what, let me put it, how did you realize that you were stepping in more and more to this true about yourself, this honest and this yeah, authentic self? How do you feel that that was for you? What did you do, or what happened?
Um, yeah, obviously, like I said, there are many steps, but one comes to mind quite clearly, because it's about my own sexuality
Yeah.
and understanding what I liked and how I brought it into my life. It was about, I think, 8 or 9 years ago, and I had a date while traveling Vietnam.
Yeah.
So I was in Hanoi. I had just a regular Tinder date for whatever that may be. And completely out of nothing, I had my first kinky experience, which was very different than I ever experienced before.
Mhm.
And at one moment, for me, it really opened up my eyes in understanding what I was looking for in intimacy, what I was looking for in sexuality. So I learned so much about myself in that one Tinder date, which was
Yeah.
already was quite special. But then I came home from that holiday, and for me, my mind was quite literally blown. So like, wow, this is partly who I am, and this is very different.
Yeah.
And I already at that time I was blessed with friends that I thought I could share that with. So I literally went to all my friends and told them, "Hey, I had an experience. It's very new, and it's much more kinky, and I'm gonna explore that, and I'm gonna be with that and see what it means to me." And I think what was really important is how everybody reacted, because it was not their interest, it was not their life, and it's still not it's still not. But they all were like, "Hey, that's really cool for you. That's
Mm.
really awesome that you found this out and that you're going to explore this." And well, now I'm working with that topic as well. So yeah,
What means kink? So for
that's
people
that's a
that, you know.
that is a good question. Um, how kink is being used is anything that gives you sexual energy that's not deemed normal by society. So
Mm.
anything that people out there think is normal is not kinky, and which is not normal is kinky. Basically,
Well,
a lot.
that is interesting because yeah, being a coach of couples for more than 20 years,
Mhm.
I go like, what is normal?
Oh,
You know?
yeah. Yeah, but that's the question. And I have a lot of discussions where people, when they think they're doing absolutely normal thing, no, we just the phrase is for normal sex is vanilla sex. Beautiful. I like
Yeah.
that. Because
Yeah.
everybody likes vanilla. It's awesome. Nothing wrong with vanilla, but it is the most used taste, at least in ice cream, there is. So I have sometimes people that they say, yes, I really only like vanilla sex. And then you get into depth with them, and they do awesome stuff where but
Yeah.
nobody does in their street, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful and it's consensual and it's just their intimacy and then how they express that. And the other way around, people think they are super kinky for whatever they
Yeah.
is.
Super.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you could say like that. Normal is just, yeah, it's something from a big group of people, but in the end, when you're talking to one person or a couple or even more people, has absolutely no meaning.
Nothing to do. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
meaning, because it is about what you like, what you understand of your own body and your own emotions and senses, sexuality, and how you connect with that.
And that is what, let's say, we could be aiming for, is
Yeah,
that let's say concrete notion, what we like, what we don't like, what gives us pleasure, what doesn't give us pleasure,
yeah,
is that encounter with ourselves first.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're absolutely right. And the way I approach that is also it doesn't have to be kinky at all. Or
Yeah.
in relationship, you don't have to open your relationship or do polyamory. A monogamous relationship is lovely, it's brilliant. But it is about being true to yourself and
Yeah.
really daring to feel and daring to express and explore, okay, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Um, and also, I might even give you can give you an example about how that works with relationships, for example, for
Mm,
me,
mm, mm.
which is also a story I like to tell. Because for a long time, for about 8 years, I had a relationship when I was still living in The Hague in Holland, with a great woman, and we had quite a good relationship. And in the end, um, while still having a great relationship, we started exploring. Okay, do we want to have kids or not?
Mm.
And she really wanted to have kids, and I started exploring, and I realized I really don't want to have kids. But we still love
Yeah.
each other, and we still loved each other in the end of our relationship. But then we really felt, okay, we can't go on because you really need to have the perspective of having your own child. And yeah, I probably will not be happy in that scenario. So for me to make you happy, we have to break up, which was really quite a mind fuck
Yeah.
at that. So we did break up. And for about a year, we took our distance because obviously it was sad and nothing wrong was being said. There was no anger, but it was quite sad and painful. And now she's one of my absolute best mates. So and we share so much together, and we get the freedom from her current partner. She is remarried. She's been married now, and she has a kid. And we get the freedom to have our relationship in a different ways. It's completely platonic,
Yeah.
but we found a way from that point of time to now to still have a great relationship,
Yeah.
but different than before because we needed different things out of a connection.
Yeah, but that is, I think, happens, of course, that is let's say a big thing. Having kids or not having kids is a big transformation in the relationship. But I see that happening, like even people staying together when they don't want the same thing, in these smaller things even, you know.
Mm.
And they stay together by the idea, I don't know, that sometimes by the fear of breaking up, and okay, but I
Mm.
really like this person. Um, Sometimes by the idea that, oh, we will compensate this in other ways and forms. And yeah, sometimes also by the idea that, oh, maybe it's not so important for me. So
Mm.
maybe I can go on without that. What do you feel, or with your experience also with working with people, what is the consequences of sometimes
Mm.
abdicating of your real needs, let's say?
Yeah, yeah. No, I very much recognize what you say, and I think from the way I express that so many people have a fear of really being true to themselves because they fear of losing something.
Yeah,
And that's the basic motivation to do what you just described, like when okay, we're not really bringing this in, or we're deleting it or ignoring it, or we're trying to work around it.
yeah,
From my experience, and I also work for more than 10 years now with couples, that's already a little gap you're creating, and if it's going to stay there, it's going to widen and widen, and it's going to be very dark hole of energy,
yeah,
which from my point of view is very sad, and it is unnecessary because every relationship has different desires at one point, or expectations or wishes or fantasies.
yeah. And we also, let's say we change,
Yeah,
so the
exactly.
relationship changes.
Yeah.
Our needs also, yeah, I can talk, I don't have the same needs that I had when I was 20 years old.
No.
I'm much more picky. So, and that I find that really good. But some things that maybe I will imagine allow even in a relationship when I was 20 years old, now I go like, no way, Jose, right? Like that was not going to happen. So we also change, right? So
Yeah.
it's important also to keep that communication feel open and allowing ourselves to say, okay, what is this relationship all about right now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you're 100% right, and that it's quite literally happening to me right now, in
yeah,
my own relationship. I have
yeah,
one primary partner where we almost know each other for 3 years, so
yeah,
it's really close now. And it's an polyamorous relationship, so we are able to love more people at once. So when I met her, I even had a primary partner and then two partners at the same time. But right now we are our only partners, primary partners. But still, me personally, at this moment, I'm in a process of a big process with topics like loneliness and rejection from a child trauma,
yeah,
which is quite intense and brings up a lot of emotion, a lot of fear and insecurity and feeling rejected. So we discussed that. And that means that right now we thought, okay, maybe for the foreseeable future, we change a few of our dynamics and a few of our
Yeah,
agreements in our relationship to facilitate that, because otherwise it's just too difficult. I'm triggered
yeah,
all the time.
yeah,
And
yeah,
she doesn't want that. I don't want to make her that person. So I don't want her to be triggering me all the time. So yeah, and it's also
not in that way, at least, not
no, no,
not in that way.
that's a good rephrase. But and that for sure won't be the status quo for 10 years. But for this process, I need that.
Yeah, yeah. But I also think one of the things that I sometimes and a lot of times I hear is this idea that like we were talking before about what is normal, right? And
Mm,
I hear a lot of people, for instance, saying, "Oh, it's normal that after a while you lose a kind of the passion for whatever." And I like, no, that I don't know, that should not be. I don't consider that normal because that doesn't happen with me and my husband, for instance. So so I think also a lot of times people find normal what is not healthy for the relationship, like not for instance having a sexual drive, or not feeling anymore that admiration for that partner, for instance. Or for instance, one of the things that a lot of people consider normal and I don't, is I don't consider normal that you have a best friend that is not your partner. That you know what I mean?
I
So
know very
have
much what you mean.
that I have someone that knows more about even how do you feel inside of the relationship than your partner. For me, it's like, I'm sorry, you can tell me whatever you want. I don't find that normal. The person that should know more about you and the relationship and whatever is going on is the person that you sleep with.
Mm,
Um, and for instance, I think a lot of people find normal that you have a best friend that sometimes knows more about how you feel inside of the romantic relationship than your partner.
mm,
So how do you see all these dynamics, for instance,
mm.
when you even have the possibility of having, for instance, of an open relationship that you have more than one partner, for instance?
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, that's a very fair point you're raising, because the whole normal thing,
Yeah,
it it is no it's just not important. It shouldn't be something that drives you or even gives you direction.
yeah,
And personally, I call it the Disneyfication of relationship, because and that's happened to all of us, because we have the models of our parents or family or friends, whoever is there in your youth. You have the models from all the books, all the movies, all everything that you consume via media, and that will give you an idea how romance or intimacy or relationship should be.
yeah,
But that's most of the time what is normal. And especially when you talk about open relationships,
yeah.
everything depicted by the media and even by society is very much aimed at close relationship, monogamous ones.
Mhm.
So they experience even a bigger gap between what's deemed normal and how they want to do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, most of the time, what I normally do is that I even investigate. Okay, what do you think is normal? So
Mhm.
what are your values in a relationship? Do you even know that? And are they really true from yourself, or are you just copying them for your parents or from Hansel and Gretel or whoever?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
well, not Hansel and Gretel, but still,
Yes, yes.
probably not. Bad example. Been a while since I read that. Um, so for me, it's always the process about finding out, okay, what are your values? What are your needs? And just without even having a frame, start coloring that in. And then see, okay, and what does that mean? And how can we be with that? And how can we find a connection in that with the two or even with more people? And I
Yeah,
very much agree that your partner or partners should be the people on the earth you trust the most,
yeah, yeah,
and you relate to the most and you connect to the most on different levels. And
yeah,
if not, well, yeah, even from my own experience, you're missing out.
yeah, yeah. I think I say that and I'm very pragmatic in that terms. Um, I divide, and sometimes people get a little bit, hmm. But for me, relationships
Mm,
are kind of contracts, agreements,
mm,
how we want to deal with each other, right?
mm,
So you have, for me, the way that we agree in how we relate with each other
mm,
is unique, and that agreement, of course, will be much more profound if it's connected with love, is if it's connected with admiration, if it's connected with respect,
mm,
right? Um, so let me put it this way: when, for instance, you want to open a relationship,
mm,
what are, in your perspective, the conditions, the primary conditions to do that? Because I also see a lot of confusion in that field.
mm,
I see a lot of confusion. I see a lot of people, what I normally say, doing it for the wrong
mm,
motives or with the wrong motivation. Let me put it this way. So, in your perspective, if people are thinking about that and
mm,
wanting to explore that possibility, what are for you the basic things that they need to consider?
mm. Yeah, good question. Because indeed, I speak to a lot of couples, obviously, who are at least investigating what it would mean if they would open up a relationship.
Yeah.
A very soft way of exploring that, which is a great way to start already. And already, like you said, one of the most important thing is understanding what is my intention.
Mm,
What is my intention for wanting to explore this? What is my starting point?
yeah.
Because so many people do it for negative intentions. Like, well, it's not really going that well at the moment. Our relationship, it misses a bit of spark or it misses something. Let's put something from outside in.
Outside. Yes. Ah,
Well, yeah, you're getting a spark, but like a very explosive one and a very painful one for all parties included.
yeah.
So that I've,
So that, let's say, that will be a big red flag.
yeah, a
Like, I'm
big,
doing it, I'm doing it for need.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's instead of extension of love, extension of connection, and
Yeah.
really feeling like, hey, I can make a connection to another person and whatever rules or agreements that the couple will agree at, and it doesn't affect my connection that I have. It's not a replacement. It's an
Yeah.
extension of who I am and or a part of who I am, and I want to share that with you.
Yeah.
So that the intention is also already super important to when you start to open up your relation to be aware of that and explore that and understand it from each other. So
Yeah.
not only be about you, but
Yeah,
it's
of course.
intentional. Yeah, again, but yeah, it's important. So that's a really big point. Um, Another big point is understanding that an open relationship is not that different from a close relationship or a monogamous one, but it does can trigger you sooner in whatever trauma you have with connecting to people or with feeling
Trust,
lonely.
maybe.
Sorry?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Trust.
trust, exactly.
Yeah.
So doing an open relationship like that, it might trigger you sooner than in a close relationship because sometimes that gives you at least a fake sense of security because I
Yeah.
don't really think that security exists in a relationship. Every day we choose for each other and every day we can fall in love with someone if we don't want to.
Yeah.
But okay, that's another topic. But really taking responsibility for your own emotions. So, okay, something is triggering me, like right now with me, something is triggering me. There's nothing to do with my partner. She's not doing anything wrong or anything bad, but it's still there. So
Yeah.
I still have to do something with it. So obviously when you're alone, but sometimes in a close relationship, it takes longer for you to get at that stage, at least from the experience that I have with other couples. So owning your own relationship and taking responsibility for that, that's already a big thing that you should be able to do while starting to open your relationship.
Yeah, yeah,
And the third one is probably the most open door one, is about communication.
yeah,
Yeah, really being able to communicate about your deepest desires, fears, triggers, traumas, or whatever comes up, and
yeah,
wishes and fantasies. Let's talk about good things as well.
yeah,
It is important. And also, don't overshare, because sometimes people think, okay, I have to be brutally honest or radical honesty, which is lovely in theory, but in a practical sense, it's important to know, okay, why do I want to communicate this, and do I know how to do that?
yeah.
So
I like the radical honesty, and I think to be radical needs to be kind.
yeah, fair enough. But
Because
that's a
it's
big mistake.
yeah, yeah. People confuse a little bit radical with being
Yeah,
direct, or I say whatever I want.
yeah,
No,
exactly.
no.
Yeah,
Communication is about me being aware that whatever I say is going to impact the other person.
yeah.
Uh, so that's that radical honesty. The first question that I say to my clients is the first question that you need to ask yourself is, I'm communicating this for me
Mm,
to satisfy my own need, or I'm communicating this to support the relationship with the other person.
exactly.
Yeah. And so radically honest is when I'm supporting the
Yeah.
relationship, and I'm not just, yeah, I
Yeah.
need to vent, or I need to say whatever I feel. And I believe that I can give my example in I think the biggest, for me, the biggest moment,
Mm,
because when I met at that time my boyfriend, now my husband, we had, both of us was very, open, that none of us will, let's say, look for a traditional marriage in the sense of getting married in a traditional way.
mm,
So it was like, okay, we choose, and I think you said this before, and I really like that. We choose to be together, so we don't need to get married by a priest or whatever.
yeah.
Um, and after a while in the relationship, I really wanted to get married. And I was like,
Mm,
oh, I was surprised with myself, you know. I was like, why I'm getting this? That's like, this is another person. And I remember that took me, I don't know, but took me a while, first of all, to recognize, is this really
mm,
something that changed in me? And then I remember that I was even I said to my husband, I said, oh, I need to say something to you. And he really thought that was something the opposite, like, oh my God, she found someone else or whatever, because I was so tense. I was so tense because I thought, oh, I don't know how he's going to react. I want to say it, but I don't want to
mm,
make them feel obligated to do anything about it. But
mm,
I feel that I need to share this because it's a big thing for me. So when we were sitting down, he really thought that after I told him, he said, oh my God, that is only the thing that he need to tell me. Because I thought that he were going to tell me, I don't know, I want to break up or whatever. So he was nervous. I was nervous. And the interesting thing is that I told him, hey, I need to tell you that for me, yeah, I would like to get married, like in a proper wedding, and but I said to him, I also want you to feel that is no obligation, but I feel like I need to share this because it's important, and I feel
mm,
that will change the dynamic also for me. And it was incredible because we did it after, from the moment that I said it until the moment that we really got married was like, I think 4 years. And in that 4 years, I was not really expecting that we will ever got married.
Mm.
Because I said, okay, I don't feel the same way. And I said, it's fine. So I got really surprised when I got my proposal. So that's also, I think, even in a monogamic relationship,
Mm.
that open communication, that allowing the relationship to change
Yeah.
is very important. So can happen also inside of a monogamic relationship, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's a beautiful example. And a little bit before the story I told about the relationship that she wanted to have kids,
Yeah.
that was what she did as well. Because we entered the relationship together and we said, oh, kids, no.
Yeah.
And like, man, maybe, but probably no. And she changed and she knew quite well that probably I wouldn't change. But yeah, she really spoke up like, yeah, I probably really need this. I really want this. And let's explore that together.
Yeah.
And like your example, that's super brave. And
Yeah.
taking responsibility for yourself and for what you want and not expecting something back. Okay, let's explore and see what it means.
Yeah. 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 And how do you see the dynamic? Because I think most part of the times also people don't realize what the dynamic is when you are in an open relationship. So, because for instance, we're saying that you have a primary partner. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, what that means and what is that dynamic? Now, almost like who has the biggest right here?
Yeah. And again, there are so many different ways to approach that
Yeah.
because there are a lot of people also in the polyamory world who believe in having a non-hierarchical relationships. So
Okay.
nobody goes above someone else.
Okay.
And yeah, so basically, again, with your partner or partners, you have to choose how will that work best for us. And I
Mhm.
can give you an example. It was quite a funny example in the end between, well, my current relationship and the one I had at the same time at the beginning of our relationship. So
Yeah. Yeah.
about 2 years back, 3 years back, I met Annette, my current partner, but I was already in another relationship. So my primary partner was my previous girlfriend,
Mhm.
Joyce. Let's call him Joyce and Annette, otherwise it gets very difficult.
That's
Yeah,
complicated.
it's very difficult. So I had already had a relationship with Joyce, and then my current partner, Annette, was there as well. So obviously, I first started dating her, but after I think about a year, that's another story in itself. I thought, okay, this is not fitting anymore. It doesn't feel right to call Annette just my date. It feels like she's my partner in whatever order.
Yeah.
So to be fair, I decided that when I was traveling Asia. And
Mhm.
I first told everybody in Asia, hey, I have two partners. And then in the end, I thought maybe I should tell Annette as well, like, hey, Annette, my partner. And she raised a very fair question. What does that mean? But basically, it's the same question that you asked. Like, hey, what does it mean to be a partner or a date or a lover or whatever phrase you're going to give that?
Yeah.
So that moved from being a date to a partner. And from my perspective, just to get the perspective, I had two primary partners. So there was no hierarchical order in that.
Okay.
But after half year, the ladies didn't know each other, but they met through me. After half a year, they decided, no, it doesn't fit anymore. Arthur, they decided that the second one, the new one, Annette should be my primary partner and Joyce should be my secondary partner. So
Mm.
for them, that was for them the right order. They didn't really discuss it with me, or at least I didn't really agree. But that was fine. And I think in the end, it's not about the names. It's about okay, what feels
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
how can you honor the connection that you have? Be it hierarchical, be it not. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people, when they open up the relationship, they have a primary partner and nobody comes close. And also to create a bit of safety. If
Yeah.
that's the way that works for you, that's great.
Yeah. Now you raise up something that safety. Huh?
Yeah.
How how can we? What is your perspective of safety in relationships? What that means?
Yeah. I think I mentioned it a little bit before, and I think safety in the end, you're never really safe. You're never, there's not no real safety. Things can always happen. When you're in a close relationship, when you're a monogamous one, when you're in an open one, when you're super happy, things can change.
I think I don't agree with that,
Tell
but
me.
I don't agree with wording. I
Ah,
think you cannot at all control a relationship.
that's what I mean.
It's not in your control, right? But you can feel safe even
Yeah,
knowing,
yeah,
right? For instance, um, talking about again myself, whatever my husband says, whatever that is,
yeah,
I totally trust him.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So if even if for instance something happens and I ask something and he says no, I go like no. I really feel safe in that sense.
yeah.
So it's a matter of wording, maybe, right? So in a
That,
relationship, nothing that you can control.
no. And the point I was trying to make is that a lot of people find safety in control,
Yeah,
and
true.
and that is the problem.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So that's
So
that.
that is the thing is that you cannot put safety under the idea that you can control whatever is going to happen. Okay.
And
Okay.
it is a big mistake and something that happens very often. And that's also sometimes the fake safety I was mentioning in a close
Yeah.
relationship. Yeah,
Yeah.
things can happen, but you can feel very safe when you feel connected and understood and seen. You can feel
Yeah.
super safe, and that's beautiful. And I wish that for everyone. And that's one of the
Yeah.
topics I work with a lot of people.
And how can we, let's say, in a relationship, do that? How can we amplify that sensation of safety?
Hmm.
How can we do that?
Um, the way I normally approach that, and also in the coachings and even the workshops that I do,
Yeah.
for me, it's a lot about really showing up, really being yourself, and putting yourself in a connection in the relationship or in the relationships,
Yeah.
and finding a set of practices to do that, to be connected, and to strengthen, to deepen that. And one of the many techniques, obviously, is Tantra, which is
Mm.
the essence of Tantra, is feeling more connected to yourself, your senses, your emotions, but also to your loved ones and to the world and your spirituality.
Yeah.
So, but that's, I think, there comes a lot of safety from that. When people feel, hey, I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel understand, that person is really there and really gets me,
Mhm.
then you feel safe. And
Yeah.
then, like you said, when Peter says no to you, like, okay, that's no.
Yeah.
And I understand when Peter says no, then you say no, because I know Peter as well and I trust him as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, that's because it's I think that can how can I say? I normally say that the world is tough enough. So
Hmm.
if your home is not a place that you can let go of all the protections,
Hmm.
is my youngest son, I think is the great metaphor for that. And I think I told you this already. He gets home, so he comes to school. He gets home. The first thing that he does is to take all his clothes off. So he is always naked inside of the house. And for me, that is the most beautiful metaphor. It's like I want to be in a relationship, whatever is romantic, whatever is a friendship, whatever, if I'm willing to relate with someone,
Hmm.
I want to feel that. I
Hmm.
want to feel that I can take all, I can be naked.
Hmm.
Sense. I don't need to go and say, this kind of thing, or like, oh, let's see how the person is today. If I can speak or if I cannot speak, I go like, wow, that must be the most tiring
Hmm.
experience of this life. Is that if you don't have a place and a person, when I say a place, is a person that
Hmm.
you can go to and, you know,
Mm.
take all the protection out.
Yeah.
I sometimes feel really compassion for
Mm.
people that don't have that. And even sometimes worse, that they are inside of romantic relationships.
Mm.
They cannot do that. Or at least they feel that they cannot do that. It's not safe enough for
Yeah.
them to ever, say even what they think.
Mm.
I feel like, wow, that must be so exhausting all the time, keeping your guard up, you know?
Mm.
Um, so I'm really, I think one of the biggest things for humanity is
Mm.
really to establish that at least one person that you can go and feel safe with.
Yeah, true.
But still the question, how can we do that? Uh,
Yeah.
and can we get also courage enough to let go when we don't feel like that?
Mm. Yeah, and what kind of belief system do you have about
Mm.
really radical authenticity, really just letting go of all your defense systems and letting go of the perception what is normal or good or etc.
Yeah,
And that's yeah, something I work with a lot. I also work a lot with in the queer world, which obviously is very much in that state of mind. Like, okay,
yeah,
how can you be radically yourself and
yeah,
whatever that looks like, and even when it's contrary to what society finds attractive, normal, beautiful, or aesthetically pleasing, or whatever it is.
yeah,
And a different frame for that is, and that's very much my frame I also want to bring to the world, there's almost nothing more attractive than radical authenticity.
yeah,
Um, Even without the sexual aspect, when people are really true to themselves, whatever that look like,
yeah,
that just grabs me. And I'm mesmerized. Like, it's so beautiful when people do that. I can still remember, it was about maybe 7 years ago. Um, my then girlfriend, she took me, I think she was on a trip somewhere in the Veluwe in the woods, and we were foresting for herbs and flowers, etc., etc. Not my normal cup of tea, Lisa. You might know that, not my normal cup of tea. But the lady presenting them was doing it with all her heart. Like, there was no shame, there was nothing holding back. She was doing it with everything she had. It was awesome.
yeah,
It was beautiful. I was like, wow, how cool are you? It was so inspiring for me to see that. And then
yeah,
again, that really established me for me, like, you should be able to be completely yourself. And obviously at first with someone you feel safe with. But
yeah,
when you do feel safe with that, you can show more to the world as well.
yeah,
Because when you have that safe place with a loved one or loved ones, you can go out from there and you bring that with you. And yeah, and I feel my whole body now how beautiful I find that and how attractive that is in the world.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so when people want to work with you, how that looks like, because I think that is also like what they do in this kind of workshops, so what that looks like if I want to go to a workshop lead by you, what I will be doing, what that looks like.
Yeah, I do two things. I do coaching for singles, for couples, for more sums, and I do workshops and retreats. Let me start with the latter. So the workshop and retreats, which I most of the time I do with my current partner, who is a drama therapist. So we do it together, and we do it together also because we can do in the demos do presentations about our own dynamics, so how that will look like.
Yeah,
So I think that's a really added bonus, especially when you are talking about dynamics, about intimacy, about connection, relationships. It's great to have that. And she brings her own very experienced skill set and experience as a drama therapist to it as well. And my intention for all my workshops and retreats is to really create a safe space where you and your partner or your temporary partner you bring with, you can start exploring in a way that fits your connection. So we are very strict in a few things how we approach that. One very simple example, which is important when you talk about Tantra and kink, is that at our workshops, all the clothes stay on.
Exactly.
All the clothes at all times. Or maybe you can go to the toilet, but please lock the door. You
Yeah.
stay on.
Yeah.
You might write sensual, but even that you can come in whatever you like, because it's about you and about your connections. Just feel free to express that the way that you want. And the same with the exercise. We will all have a very clear build-up where we're always busy with helping you to feel, do I want to do this? Or do I
Yeah.
need to change something? Or no, I don't want to do this. And all options are always fine at any point of time. There will never be any pressure to participate, but we want you to every time check in with yourself, do I want to do this?
Yeah.
But we will build up very gradually, step by step, for letting you taste in a very simple way, how would it be like between the two of us? Or maybe when we switch roles, or it's something we never thought of. And we will always do that in a very playful, in a relaxed manner, but with a lot of support from the two of us.
Yeah.
So that's how the workshops will be. And the coaching in that sense is not that much different than the clothes stayed on.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, the clothes always.
It's a coaching. So it's a coaching that's a
Yeah,
coaching process only with this specific topic. So
exactly.
is nothing too extravagant. Because I think that sometimes is important, but not sometimes, always. That sometimes people get an idea about what things are. Again, what comes in the social and what they believe that is. But no, this type of topics is I honestly believe that is about relationships
Yeah.
and how and the dynamic of the relationship and how that and what is the material that is going to be inside of that dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how people can get in. So of course we are going to put all the links and all the thing, but what is the best way to reach out to you is via email, or you have a website. So what do you like the most? People reach out to you.
I think, yeah, if you like email, then email me from my website. There's obviously all the contact info, but I'm also on Instagram. So the company is called Intimate Integrity. And with that handle, Intimate Integrity, you can find me on Instagram, and the same on my website. It's
But
Intimate.
also in Instagram, sometimes you put a lot of sometimes small tips and small ideas, and you give also some pre, let's say, taste about what people can experience in the coaching on the workshops, right? So I think it's also a great place to go and already get the sense how do you approach these topics. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's not about getting the whole world kinky or in an open relationship. It's about letting you find out what you really
Yeah.
want, and finding a safe, good place in your life to express that in
Yeah.
relationships and sexuality and whatever that look like. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, okay, super. So if you want to give one message at this moment to everyone that is listening to us, what that will be? What do you
Mm.
want people to know?
Mm. That's a very interesting question, Lydia. Um, I really wished you to feel very secure with who you are, and with yourself and the way you relate to others. And with all my heart, I wish you for that for you. And if you want help with that, then I'm here.
Okay, super. Thank you, Al. Super. Thank you for this conversation. Of course, we could be talking about this for hours. So maybe we need to meet again and have another conversation. So I will put all the links, all the information for you to reach out to Arthur. And yeah, knowing Arthur, I can guarantee that you are in good hands. So thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I'll speak to you soon.